speaking of branded apps and Asia, I mean, you guys did a blockbuster campaign with McDonald's in China. This was basically, well, I'll let you cue it up for our audience, but basically you work with McDonald's to create a new kind of Angry Birds customized branded game, kind of gamified the shopping experience at this huge chain. So from your seat, tell us about this. Like, what did this look like? If I was a user in that McDonald's with my phone, what would I experience? And then what were the success metrics? You guys mentioned some pretty blockbuster numbers up there.
So we actually changed the real game. So it was the actual game that has been downloaded more than 2 billion times, I think is the official number. What we did is, the first thing was that McDonald's wanted to get more foot traffic into the restaurants. The 1,600 restaurants that they have in China. And by the way, I think they open a new one almost every day right now, so that's the rate of expansion. They wanted more people in, and we wanted to use mobile. We had two options. Number one, we would create our own game, but the reality in the mobile gaming space is that the blockbusters are huge. So if you think of some of the other games, they get almost 100 million daily users. It's Super Bowl every day in those games. So we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to start competing with them with a non-branded game. We chose the option of going and talking to Rovio, who was the studio behind the game, and asked if we can change certain components in the game. And basically there was a ton of mechanics that we deployed, but there were two things that seemed to be working especially well. The first one was, if you were in China playing the game, it would show you a map. And it would show on that map that you're here, the closest McDonald's restaurants are a couple of blocks away. If you physically walk there, we will give you a virtual reward. So you got power-ups for going in there, which for a non-gamer doesn't sound like much, but if you play the game, it actually is a real currency. It had a big meaning. And then the other thing was that when you were inside the restaurant, you could play new game modes that were not available outside of the restaurant. So if you walked outside of the restaurant, the Angry Birds game that you were playing would just return back to normal.
And the name of the game, by the way, is something that I really enjoy. The name is
Angry Burgers. That's a name that actually came later in the game. So when the users were playing the game, they were playing the real Angry Birds game. So that was a bit of a marketing name that we came up with later.
And this company is already a company that generates a huge amount of sales. They have a huge amount of their market share, especially in their industry. You guys were able to block, send fish fillet sales up through the roof. What is it? Fries were through the roof. Like, tell me some of the engagement metrics.
The number one metric that we tracked was the amount of traffic in store, so the footfall in the store. And that saw an increase of 28%. And that was the key metric. Yeah, that's big. That's huge.
I think I remember a 280% increase in fish fillet sales.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
That's amazing.